Hey, what's happening, guys? Mike Moo here. I wanted to record this video while it was fresh in my mind, and I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little weird. It's because I just got a dentist appointment, had some cavities filled, so my mouth is a little bit numb. Anyway, I was at Fry's recently, and what I did was I had purchased a monitor, the LG 43-inch monitor, which I did a quick first look technical review on. And throughout my testing and usage of the monitor, I've had a lot of cutouts, meaning that the LG monitor would go blank all of a sudden in the middle of something, primarily, and I'm using it in 4K 60p mode on an Xbox One X. Or basically the one that has the 4K HDR, the highest processor, etc., etc. So it would blank out every once in a while, and the problem was that it would blank out sometimes for a second or two, and then when it would come back, sometimes it'd be okay. Other times, I would have the problem where the audio would be completely dead. Okay, so anyway, fast forward, I had a problem with the monitor. I went back to Fry's and basically wanted to just return the monitor. Now, on the Fry's return policy, it does not state anything about a restocking fee. There is no restocking fee now. They used to have a restocking fee on certain things like cameras and laptops, but it's no longer stated in there now. So I wanted to warn you about this, is that even though it doesn't state it, they will want to reserve the right or do whatever excuse that they can in order to charge you a restocking fee for returning the item. Okay. They might be better if they just exchange it for you if it's defective, but if you insist on return, they're going to try to do that to you. And I think it's somewhat shady business practices. I realize they're a business and they're really not an equipment rental company, and I realize that there's people that abuse that all the time. But in my case, so I brought it back and I told them about the situation. And they were doing some testing, and I stood there and watched them plug everything into a Mac Mini. They didn't have an Xbox to try out, and they couldn't replicate the problem. So I said, you know what, maybe give it an hour, maybe it needs to warm up. So I went ahead and continued to do my shopping, walked around the store, and I picked up my items that I had ordered online for pickup. And I came back, and the department manager wasn't around anymore. I presumed that he had left or was leaving before this was I don't know, 8-ish, 8 p.m., 7-ish, 8 p.m., something like that. So I presumed he had left already, and the idea was just to continue to see when this would occur. But anyway, I came back and it still was not producing the problem that I had, which the guy told me before, I guess he was leaving, is like, yeah, we'll go ahead and accept the return, but we're going to have to charge you a 5% restocking fee. I told him, well, that's not acceptable to me. Let us do its thing. You'll see that there's a bit of a problem. So this is an issue for a number of reasons. One is that, if they found nothing wrong with it, shouldn't I have a right to return it without a restocking fee? There's nothing wrong with it. Two, if they accept the fact that I do have something wrong with it, that's more the reason why I should be able to return it. Okay? And nowhere in the policy does it say, hey, we don't accept returns unless defective. That's not the case with Fry's. But you know what? Many times when I purchase things from Fry's, let's say whether it's camera equipment, computers, laptops, monitors, I've never actually had to return anything. So, I've been pretty lucky on that front. Luckily, very lucky on that front. So, it's nowhere in the policy. What I ended up having to do was, I waited for the whole full-on hour of their testing, and then I said, hey, this is, if it's probably it's not going to happen. You guys are going to be closing soon. Can I please speak to your manager? During that time, I was waiting, watching. I was just thinking how preposterous this whole thing was. And so I sent an email. On the back of every single receipt, there's actually an email address to supposedly the store manager. But really, it just goes to a general inbox, which I guess whoever's at the manager at the time can go ahead and read and look at. But the manager had left for the day. So luckily, I had the assistant manager or the manager of that department go ahead and, the guy that was keeping an eye on to see what was going on with the monitor actually went to go talk with him, and basically they said, okay, fine, we'll just go ahead and process the return. And really, that should be something that was offered at the beginning. I didn't have to waste another 40 minutes of my time waiting around to come to the same conclusion that they were going to hopefully take care of the customer. But now I actually have some doubts. And I know that, really early, I've been a Fry's customer for a really long time, since working in the Bay Area. And yeah, they have done some shady business practices, sometimes returning and putting, I think a lot of the problems people used to have was that people would return products, they'd put it back there and sell it as new, and that wasn't allowed. It was a little bit shady. And over the years, they've still been my go-to place to get electronics items when I needed it. They are still the best around in terms of a brick and mortar store, even though some of them aren't really brick and mortar. And a lot of times they do have some of the best deals that I look for, and they will also price match to Amazon, which is fantastic. So they are still one of the places that I really choose to. But now I'm going to be a lot more cautious about purchasing computer equipment or laptops, and know that there could be a fight ahead about this potential ridiculousness about this. Now, keep in mind, your mileage may vary. This might be an isolated incident at certain Fry's Electronics. Some managers know about customer service. Maybe some don't. Maybe the managers are having a bad day. But I do notice that sometimes in certain Fry's Electronics, I don't know why, but the managers don't talk to the customer. It's as if they're not even there. They don't even address you. They don't thank you for your business. Maybe they just have to see the brunt of what's bad about customers and customers that abuse. It'd be nice to be treated like a human being, right? They call for a number. They call the manager over. Clearly, I'm the customer. I see that the manager came over. They're having a little discussion. And I don't even know why they don't even address the customer. I don't get it. I don't know why this is not in their training. A little bit of customer service can go a really long way, even if you still are the best at having the product selection, and that you got the brick and mortar down. Yeah, Best Buy is down the street, and I've had a few customer service issues with them over the years. Some of it had to do with the returns that they were tracking you with your ID and your thumbprint or whatever, something like that. Basically, if they think that you might be abusing the return policy, which could be as simple as buying a big ticket item and then returning it for whatever reason, that could ban you from being able to return at any number of places. Best Buy, Home Depot, some of these other places all do that, and that is a real shame. So I'm glad Fry's doesn't do that, as far as I know. They have their own internal thing where they track you with your phone number that you give them. All right, so that's my rant. So my tip is, I have a few tips about that. One is, if you're buying a bigger ticket item, you're buying from one of the departments, such as the computer department specifically, with monitors, or you're talking about big screen TVs or cameras where people might tend to abuse some of these things, is to ask them very specifically about the return policy. Ask them just to make sure that you're covered. And second is that, purchase with a credit card that will help you and be on your side to handle even returns or disputes. Okay, there's any number of great credit cards out there. I actually like Citibank. This is not sponsored or endorsed by anything, but I like the Citibank Costco card. I like that one because they usually back you. American Express is also a pretty decent one. I'm not sure if Fry's accepts American Express. For a while they didn't. Maybe they do now. Another thing is, make sure you make copies of the receipt. Like before you leave the store, make a copy, snap a picture with your phone, keep it handy. Put a reminder. For instance, I would just tell Siri to go ahead and just do a reminder to before the return period is over, right? Set a reminder for 20 some days to remind you just about the product, just to make sure. And when you have the receipt, make sure that you tape it maybe to the inside of the box so that it's there. So now you have a reminder. 2, you have a copy of the receipt on your phone. 3, you tape the receipt to the inside of the box, or maybe to the back of the product, okay? And make sure that it's there and ready to go. because for any number of these little technicalities, they're going to give you a bunch of little reasons why they're going to charge a restocking fee or they won't accept the return. And they just completely ran out of reasons. I return everything in pristine condition. There was probably no signs of use. He even had to ask me if I even used it. Well, obviously I did. I did the reviews, and that's how I ran into issues with it. So don't give them any reason for that. Keep a whole separate box, bin, whatever, for any products that you might purchase, and just keep it all. This is in general good, just overall returns anyways, at least until the return period, and then maybe you can put it in another area where at least you can be protected during warranty period, because for some things, for some strange reason, for some warranties on some items, you actually need the original packaging material. They want you to be able to ship the product back in the original packaging material, or they will just not accept your warranty, they'll just blame you for any reason. So these are things that you definitely want to keep in mind there, and don't give them any reason whatsoever. Finally, if it comes down to where you just finally can't come up with a resolution, I would say talk to your credit card companies. If you need to, file some complaint at Better Business Bureau. If they're really violating anything, talk to consumers write everything down, take notes, okay? Take notes about what's going on so that you won't have to try to recall, or perhaps it'll be sometimes difficult to recall exactly what happens. So take out a notepad, write things down, write down people's names if you need to. Let them know that you're really serious about how frustrated you might be with the customer service or the returns policy or process. Okay, because I sure as how it was really annoyed that they were going to do that. Okay, well, I've ranted long enough. Let's see, 12-minute marks. Hopefully this video is useful to you. Please give it a like and subscribe for more, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.